evening from Cardiff as we report on the first full day's competition in the Network Q Rally of Great Britain. Final round of the World Championship and a rally which would decide whether Finland's Marcus Grönholm or Britain's Richard Burns would become world champion for the first time. A season-long battle that has seen Marcus Grönholm in the Peugeot with a strong grip on the championship battle. He needs to finish no worse than 5th here to take the title. Burns must win the rally and rely on Grönholm not making the top 5 if he was to become the first ever English World Rally Champion. But I'm delighted to say that Ari Vatanen, former world champion, is with us again to watch the battle unfold over the course of the next 3 days. A rally of Great Britain that's based in Wales for the first time and confined just to the Welsh Forest for the first time. What's your feeling about the changed character of this year's event?
Well, we can all be nostalgic about old good days, but we have to move ahead with the times, and now it's compact, it's cheaper, better for TV, and after all, I mean, Wales is the best rallying country in the UK.
And we've got spectators paying to get into the forest for the first time, but the organisation of the spectators did need some attention after last year, didn't it?
That's right, and well, I mean, in a way, rallying has been the victim of its own success, and I think organisers have really been tackling this problem, and we are in a, it's going really well now.
Poised for success, we've got your own countryman, Marcus Grönholm. He really has been the surprise of this World Championship season. How well do you know him?
I know him reasonably well, and I really sympathize, and I feel that justice has been done, regardless of the result of this rally, because he has been a bit of a loner, has been outside of establishment in Finland, and really he deserves it. I mean, he must feel very happy himself.
But his experience on this event, limited, and today's conditions, greasy, muddy, everything that we normally associate with the Rally of Great Britain.
Well, there's something which luckily doesn't change in this new world. I mean, the weather in UK, and this is the... But whoever does well in here, I mean, he feels he has done well.
So it was going to be a big test. The first action was a super special in Cardiff last night. But today's first serious leg of the rally comprised 7 forest stages, the longest of which is close on 17 miles. It was an early start. St Gwynno at just past 7:30 was the first stage of the day, the second stage of the rally, and Tiffany Dell and Mark James watched it all.
The sun had barely risen when the crew started stage 2, the 8.5 miler around St Gwynno Forest in the Rhondda Valley. Leg 1 traditionally runs in championship order, so it was the Peugeot of series leader Marcus Grönholm which was first to head into the gloom of a Welsh dawn. Grönholm, though, wasn't happy with the feel of the car, and 11th fastest was all he could manage. For Richard Burns and co-driver Robert Reid running second on the road, the slippery gravel of St Gwynno would give them almost the worst possible start to the day.
Right, tightly in, and flat right, 40, easy left, go 60k left, minus 9, don't cut, and tight.
That incident broke the rear suspension, costing over 30 seconds, but more worryingly, 2 more stages lay between the pair and their service crew. But there was some good news for Subaru. Fastest on the stage were the team's Norwegian star Petter Solberg and Welsh co-driver Phil Mills, while the equal leader after last night's super special stage, Juha Kankkunen, was 6th quickest. Both the Fords had a good start to the day. Colin McRae and Nicky Grist were out for revenge after losing out to their teammates on the super special, and they were 4th quickest on stage 2, a performance which lifted them into 2nd place overall behind Solberg. Carlos Sainz and Lewis Moya in the other Focus set the 5th fastest time and were 3rd on the leaderboard, just 0.2 of a second behind their colleagues. The news from St Gwynno wasn't so good for Mitsubishi, however. Despite a puncture, Tommy Mäkinen was 3rd quickest, but the team was the first to suffer a retirement when the number 2 car, the Charisma of Freddie Loix, crashed out of the event just under a mile from the end of the stage.
Doubling bordure, das will okay, doubling bordure.
Stage 3 was the short 6.5 miles of tile, but it was enough to spoil Petter Solberg's day as the young Norwegian slid into a ditch, lost 4 minutes getting out and dropped from 1st to 78th overall. Marcus Grönholm had obviously settled his early morning nerves as he went fastest through the stage and jumped from 11th to 3rd. He was supposed to be taking it easy, no one had told him. Colin McRae was just 1.3 seconds slower than Grönholm, but with Solberg's demise, he now led the rally.
100. 6 left over crest and left tightens the 4 plus cut. And 5 right plus opens, bump inside, 100. 6 right, into 6 crest, 70.
And a Ford 1-2, as Carlos Sainz was 4th fastest and sat right in his teammates' wheel tracks. Despite his left rear wheels sticking out at a crazy angle, Richard Burns brought his crab-like Subaru through an incredible 3rd fastest to move from 21st to 18th, while French star Gilles Panizzi was surprising everyone with his pace as the tarmac specialist lay 4th, just behind his Peugeot teammate. Didier Auriol was giving Seat something to smile about on their last World Rally, as he was 5th fastest in the stage and was now 7th overall, while local hero Gwyndaf Evans, on his first outing of the year, lay 15th in his Cordoba. Kenneth Eriksson led the Hyundai Challenge in 9th place, while teammate Alistair McRae was a troubled 14th. Armin Schwartz was an even more troubled 17th in the lead Skoda, while Lewis Clement just had trouble keeping his Octavia on the road. The leading privateers were Marco Martin in 8th and Tapio Laukkanen 10th.
The final stage in the opening batch was also the longest of the 3, the 16-miler through Rondhe. By now, the mist had turned into a heavy drizzle, the conditions getting worse by the minute it seemed. Fastest for the 2nd stage in a row was the man supposedly taking it easy. Marcus Grönholm was now only a little over 4 seconds away from taking the rally lead. His teammate Gilles Panizzi's surprising run was continuing. The Corsica and San Remo winner was now 4th overall, just under 18 seconds behind Grönholm. The rally was still led by Colin McRae, who was 2nd fastest on the stage, while Carlos Sainz was one of many who discovered just how slippery the Rondhe stage actually was. If the moment looked hairy from outside, from on board it looked spectacular. Tommy Mäkinen and co-driver Risto Männisen-Mäki also suffered. Rondhe's a stage the 4 times world champion will want to forget. Log piles, or rather a certain log pile, obviously held a fascination for Finns. Juha Kankkunen dropped from 5th to 9th when he too visited the same one as Tommy.
30, easy left and slipping starts.
Francois Delacour, meanwhile, was another to go off on Sainz's bend. Mitsubishi were about to be joined by Hyundai on the list of teams down to 1 car. Kenneth Eriksson's mechanics had fitted a new engine on Wednesday night, but the new one lasted less than 4 stages. The team's hopes now rest on Alistair McRae's shoulders. But what of Richard Burns? Still struggling with the damaged rear hub assembly, he lost nearly 30 seconds to championship rival Grönholm on the stage. Ahead lay a 45-mile road section before he could reach his mechanics and the chance to repair the damage caused on stage 2. To ensure the wheel didn't fall off on the way, Burns and Robert Reid stopped in a lay-by to try and effect a temporary repair. With the team relaying instructions to Robert by phone, Richard coolly strapped up the hub. Once the wheel was back on, the pair could head for Bilth Wells, fingers no doubt crossed that the repair would hold.
They have to be versatile, these rally drivers, but at the end of the first 4 stages, Colin McRae showing his determination to go all out for victory, so too Marcus Grönholm, Carlos Sainz in 3rd. But Richard Burns almost a minute back after his problems, and the first service at Bilth Wells came as a blessed relief. Peter Slater reports.
The Royal Welsh Showground at Built Wells, the calm before the rally storm. Here's where the teams had a chance to knock their cars back into shape. World Championship leader Marcus Grönholm had enjoyed a trouble-free morning in the Welsh forests.
Quite okay. The first stage was a little bit difficult. Fog in the beginning of the stage, and it was difficult to find the rhythm. But then the two last stages was okay.
What are the tactics for you in this rally? To go at 100% or just take it easy?
Not 100% okay. It's important to go. I mean, with a normal rhythm. You don't do any mistakes. So, but not any risks. No.
Grönholm was second after 4 stages, just behind the Ford Focus of Colin McRae. He was looking extremely relaxed as he chatted to his mum and his wife. So far so good for the Scot, who clearly enjoys an event he's already won 3 times. Colin, are you as relaxed as you seem?
Yeah, there's nothing to be revved up about.
Has it been a trouble-free morning for you?
Yeah, it's going well so far, no problem.
Also relaxed and 4th on the unfamiliar gravel, the second Peugeot of Gilles Panizzi. Seat had few problems. Didier Auriol's car was running in the top 5 on this, their final World Championship event. But the worried faces were at Subaru. After his problems on the very first stage of the day, would Richard Burns actually make it to service at all? To the team's relief, he arrived with his car out of shape, but pleased to still be going at all.
The wheel bearing completely broke in the last one of those stages, so the wheel was quite, you know. What's going on? So fortunately we managed to get the wheel bearing strapped together with the strap that holds the spare wheel in for the road section, so we just drove very, very slowly on the road section with our fingers crossed. Very glad to get here.
Driver error then?
Yeah, of course, I'm in charge.
So what exactly happened?
I just turned too early in for a very fast left corner, and it was a bit dark under the trees and I couldn't really see, but I committed too early for the corner and hit something on the inside.
55 seconds behind Marcus, well 56 seconds behind Marcus at this stage. Is that insurmountable?
No, it's possible to do that, but I mean it's not. Marcus isn't leading the rally, Colin's leading the rally, and I think on this rally a minute isn't too bad at this early stage.
Changing the left rear axle wasn't a problem for the Subaru mechanics, and Richard Burns could enjoy his first break of the day, safe in the knowledge that he was still in contention.
Well, hardly the start that Richard Burns wanted in his pursuit of this world title, but Ari, how lucky was he actually to stay in the rally?
Yeah, having done 2 more stages, yes, he was lucky, but I mean, you need a bit of luck also, and he deserves to stay in the rally, I mean, to keep the excitement up.
How well qualified does a modern rally driver have to be as a mechanic? Because Richard looked pretty proficient there, didn't he?
Yes, I'm surprised actually by it. Yeah, he exceeded his mechanical abilities. Knowing these days, really, apart from this sort of strapping something together, nothing else you can do. Change a tire.
It was always your strong point, wasn't it?
Well, but I mean, in those days, it was so much easier. I mean, somebody like me could understand something about mechanics.
Conditions were very difficult. Were you surprised to be seeing such elementary mistakes from the likes of Carlos Sainz and Tommy Mäkinen? Big mistakes, really.
Well, but they really do catch you out here in RAC. It is so unpredictable, and the thing is that, you know, you back off a little bit and you lose your confidence, and then that's when you go off. But somebody like Colin, full of confidence, and surprisingly Marcus also doing very well.
So it was proving to be a difficult day. At this point it was around about midday, and the first action after the Bilthwell service was stage 5, Cricken. Tiffany Dell reports.
Stage 5 was in the Kraken Forest.
2 left plus, right and
For the rally leaders, the drama began at the very first corner. There would be no more mistakes for McRae, but a precious 8 seconds had been lost. Next into the stage was teammate Carlos Sainz, and he ended up in the same ditch. Fortunately for the Spaniard, it wouldn't be his only mistake. Carlos would lose a total of 25 seconds and drop from 3rd to 7th. Richard Burns showed everyone how to get round the first corner and continued his charge back up the field.
To flat right, 60, fast left, plus 20, fast left, tight and fast left, minus 30, medium left.
Instead of catching up, that spin would cost Richard another 12 seconds. All of which allowed Marcus Grönholm to set the fastest time and move into the lead. Now that wasn't in the script. After his scare on stage 4, Tommy Macklin recovered his composure and went 2nd fastest to move from 7th right up to 3rd. The Finn now had Didier Auriol right behind him as the French star continued his impressive run in the leading Seat. Indeed, the Spanish outfit were looking to have quite a good farewell party, as Tony Gardemeister was now 10th, Harry Rovanperä 13th, and Gwyndaf Evans 16th. Gilles Panizzi in his Peugeot lost time and dropped back to 6th. But Francois Delacour began to get his act together and moved up to 11th, just over a minute off the lead. But both were now headed by the private Toyota of Marco Martin.
Stage 6 was nearly 11 miles through one of the classic Welsh forests, Halfway. Not used on the event for many years, this afternoon Halfway once again echoed to the sounds of rally cars. Tommy Makinen's Mitsubishi again suffered, the Lancer clouting a rock which affected the steering and cost around 10 seconds. Makinen's continuing problems and another good run from Didier Auriol meant that the Seat was now up to 3rd overall, a terrific performance from a team determined to bow out on a high. The locals, however, obviously weren't used to rally cars. Sheep straying onto the stage caused a few anxious moments for several drivers, among them Auriol's teammate Gwyndaf Evans. Marcus Grönholm was another who had a close encounter with a sheep, realising in the process that perhaps he might actually be taking too many risks, and he should back off a little. Francois Delacour was 3rd fastest on the stage, a little over a second slower than Grönholm, although the Frenchman was still back in 9th place overall. The two Fords had a frustrating run through Halfway Forest, Colin McRae and Nicky Grist losing even more time with another spin, while their colleagues Carlos Sainz and Luis Moya were 3 seconds quicker through the stage, their car's bodywork still sporting the scars inflicted by the previous stage. But for the first time since the rally started, the fastest time was set by the Subaru Impreza of Richard Burns and Robert Reid. Their mechanics had done the trick, and the car was now flying. The pair rolled up to the stage finish control to find Grönholm and Rautiainen waiting for them. The British pair's advantage was only 2 seconds, but at least the fight back had started.
But after 6 stages, Marcus Grönholm had taken over the lead in the rally, 15.5 seconds ahead of Colin McRae. Auriol in 3rd, and remember, a top 5 finish is enough to give Grönholm the world title. Richard Burns, he fought his way up to 10th, but still over a minute behind Grönholm. Peter Slater reports from the service.
By the time the cars returned here to Bilf in the middle of the afternoon, it had been raining persistently for a couple of hours. That meant that out on the stages, things were becoming increasingly slippery for the drivers. It didn't seem to be affecting World Championship leader Marcus Grönholm, though. He was now leading the event.
I think the stage 5 was like close to 100, yes. It was very relaxed and very good driving, and then we slowed down on the stage 6 because looks like it would be a little bit more safer to slow down now.
Richard Burns and Robert Reid were determined not to give up the fight, but could they catch Grönholm?
I mean, his time in the last one was very good, and apart from us, I don't think anyone was within 10 seconds in 17 Ks, so if he keeps going like that, then no. But he's been off. He was off in the first one and we saw the marks and he was very lucky, so that can happen as well.
Colin McRae remained relaxed, able to enjoy the event without the pressure of going for the title. And taking the event by the horns and into the top three, to the surprise of many, the Spanish team with the French driver on their final World Championship rally.
The car feels good. We have not big problem. Maybe I complain always about the torque or about the power of the engine, but when it's very slippery, maybe you lose a little bit less. So I am quite happy, but I don't know how long we can stay like that on the road.
Well, as darkness started to fall, the rally then moved into the final two stages of the day, but these still totaled more than 32 stage miles. Here's what happened.
Stage 7 was another Welsh classic, nearly 17 miles of Haverin Forest, the stage better known as Sweet Lamb. Grönholm, first to head down into the bowl, was complaining of a problem with the car's centre differential, and so had backed off to make sure he reached the end of the day. Burns was second fastest through Sweet Lamb, taking 16 seconds off Grönholm in the process. He might not have been the quickest, but the support of the British spectators was plain to see and hear. But the real fireworks were reserved for the crowd's favourite, and Colin McRae didn't disappoint. Fastest by a little over 4 seconds, it was now the Focus which led the rally once again. And so to the day's final stage, the rally's 8th. Haverin Forest hosted the 10.4-mile test, and by now it was completely dark. Richard Burns was again second quickest, pulling back a further 10 seconds from Grönholm. The dramas of this morning are now just a bad memory. But the rally leaders tonight are Colin McRae and his co-driver Nicky Grist. Fastest again through Haverin, the British pair look determined to end a difficult season with a victory on their home event.
Yes, Colin McRae helped by that fastest time on the final stage of the day, building nearly a 20-second lead over Marcus Grönholm at the end of day one. Richard Burns fighting back into 5th, but still 58 seconds off that lead. Peter Slater judged the mood at the final service of the day.
Marcus Grönholm may have ended the day with a stranglehold on the world title, but Colin McRae had the lead. His demeanour that of a driver out to enjoy himself.
It's been good, apart from a couple of spins in the afternoon. It's been very good. The car's running well. The times have been very good in the dark, so I'm quite happy.
I know you've been asked this already today, but you seem relaxed. Are you relaxed? Are you able to really enjoy this event because there's not so much pressure on you?
Yeah, no, I've said that before the event, and that's the way it is. There's no pressure for any championship, so just enjoy the driving.
Richard Burns is under pressure, but the home crowd are doing their bit to help. His day has ended better than it started.
I'm pretty happy, yeah. I mean, after the first few stages this morning, it was definitely a big worry when you look at the damage that was done in that rear wheel bearing. But got here and been able to get back up to 5th, so pretty happy with that.
You know Richard Burns is catching you. Can you still afford to take it easy tomorrow?
Yes, because I don't have to win Richard. If he passes me, okay, he goes. But then I have to look out what the others are doing to be 5th.
Tremendous crowd here. Have they been supporting you throughout the day?
They've been waving arms, flags, banners, everything, yeah. It's good feeling in the stages. And hopefully tomorrow we can get somewhere back up near the front and repay them a bit.
Are you thinking about being world champion yet?
No, not yet. I want to finish the rally first. That is an important thing.
Knowing him as you do, Ari, I'm sure he is starting to think about being world champion now, isn't he, Marcus Grönholm?
Yeah, you can't help it. But on the other hand, he knows that he has to finish, and it's a bit of a dilemma. You know, you would like to go and drive well, and you know that you won't forgive yourself if you make a mistake.
He is now in a frame of mind. He's happy with the position he's in at the first day, and he's now talking about holding back for the rest of the rally. Now, what sort of perils does that pose for a driver who's so used to going flat out?
Well, when you slow down, yes, I mean, you lose some of your concentration, and we have seen already from this footage from in-car camera how unpredictable it is. Suddenly you have this patch of mud, and I mean, it literally throws you out. And I mean, Marcus do have to stay concentrated, but he has really matured during the course of this year, and really he seems to handle the pressure now very well, which was not necessarily the case some years ago.
Richard Burns back in 5th, a minute off the lead. How distant now is the prospect of rally victory for Richard Burns?
Well, actually, I made a bet in the beginning of the year that he would win. Well, I'm obviously losing my bet now, but
you think so?
It seems that way because it was in the beginning. It was let's say a long shot, but now it's a real an outside chance. If the situation was the other way around, he was second and Marcus fifth, then maybe. But you know, c'est la vie.
What sort of risks has Richard Burns got to take now? What sort of risks can he take?
Well, he cannot really go faster than what he already does. I mean, he will go flat out because he has got nothing to lose, so he can take risks, but he has to count on people dropping those who are in front of him.
Well, let's just remind ourselves of how these stages can catch you out, some of the mistakes that were made today, and this first of all was Carlos, Harry.
Well, that is really the classic one, how lucky one can be, and well, he was very unlucky in New Zealand when he was disqualified, sorry, in Australia, so he deserved that bit of luck.
And this was Colin McRae making a very similar sort of error.
Well, that also to make such a big spin there and actually stay effectively on the road. I mean, but Nicky Christ, I mean, may have had some harsh words for him.
And these sort of conditions, did you used to enjoy them in your day on the rally?
I have to recall that in early part of my career, I never really think it was that slippy. I mean, but now in 90s and latter part of 90s, yes, I remember my heart was up in the throat very often.
The one man we haven't talked about, of course, is the man who's leading the rally, Colin McRae, who's had such an up and down season, and you can sense his determination now to claim victory on his home event.
Obviously, because psychologically, particularly bearing in mind what happened in Corsica, I mean, that accident could have ended up really badly for him. So I'm really pleased to see him back in form, and of course he's pulling out all the stops to do his, you know, it's not a hat trick, it's a fourth time for him if it happens.
Yeah, he's on course for that, and the one thing that we must say as we come towards the end of this first programme is that the rally has worked exceptionally well. No great traffic problems, the crowd organisation has been excellent, no problems reported out on the stages. They seem to have got it right.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's entertainment. Sports and entertainment. Sometimes we take it too seriously, but judging by the footage, everybody is enjoying, except maybe for co-drivers at times.
Okay, and there's still time to get out and enjoy the entertainment yourself in the forest over the course of this coming weekend, or enjoy it with us. Ari, for the moment, thanks very much indeed. So it's been very much Colin McRae's day and Marcus Grönholm's day as well. Jonathan Ledyard will take over the story here in the studio with Ari tomorrow as I head to Old Trafford for Grandstand at the Rugby League World Cup. But join Jonathan and Ari at 6:25 tomorrow evening for the story of Day 2 of the Network Q Rally of Great Britain. Bye for now.